is young and it's not disciplined, and I'm seeing that on both sides of the ball. The secondary can't cover any wide receivers, which is proven on Hard Knocks when Antonio Brown was able to practice. And their wide receivers are listless at best, lethargic at worst. These guys don't look like they actually want to run routes to catch the ball. So as far as injuries go for the Indianapolis Colts, and yes, this is a long list, Neil, cornerback Pierre Desir has a hamstring injury, didn't practice. Safety Roland Milligan was questionable for Sunday. Center Ryan Kelly is questionable for Sunday. Al-Qaeden Muhammad, defensive end, is also listed as questionable. Jabal Sheard has a knee injury. He was limited in practice. Darius Leonard is still in concussion protocol. T.Y. Hilton has a quad injury, did not practice on Wednesday. Safety Michael Hooker did have surgery to trim his meniscus. He's out for Sunday. Tyquan Lewis, defensive end, has an ankle injury. He is questionable for Sunday as well. For the Raiders, tackle Trent Brown has an ankle and knee injury. He was listed as questionable for this week. Linebackers Cal Wilbur, Nicholas Merrow, and Vontez Burfict are all listed as questionable for this upcoming week. Marka Lee was placed on injured reserve. Guard Gabe Jackson is doubtful. Wide receiver Dwayne Harris has an ankle injury and didn't practice.
We'll see how the injuries play out. The Los Angeles Chargers are at the Miami Dolphins. The Chargers are 11th in the power rankings. The Dolphins remain a unanimous 32. The point spread in this one, -16 for the Chargers. And listen, I know the Dolphins are averaging only 5.3 points per game and allowing 44 points per game. But this is a West Coast team that is banged up. Won't be playing.
Stop. Nope. Sorry, Pod. Got to cut you off. Stop. The Dolphins couldn't beat a college football team right now. They probably couldn't defeat a Division II football team right now. And I know it's crazy to say all that, but I mean, just look at the way they've been playing.
I'm not done.
No. You're done. You're done.
West Coast team going east for a 1 p.m. kickoff. Last time these two teams met, September 2017. Dolphins won 19-17 at the Chargers, and I'm pretty sure there were a lot of us who had the Chargers in a lock position for that before. I am not foolish enough to pick the Dolphins, but I'm also going to take the Chargers as my lock of the week. But I don't think the Chargers cover 16, and it's closer than everyone thinks. Lock in the Chargers, but you're going to be sweating it out in the fourth quarter as to whether or not you're in your survivor pool.
I mean, let's put it this way, Jay. If the Chargers lose this game, that would be the most Phillip Rivers thing to do.
Right? Yeah.
Is Melvin Gordon back?
Melvin Gordon is officially back. It is being tweeted out. He has reported.
He's not going to play, though, is he?
He's not playing.
No, he's not going to play. He's not going to play. Also not playing for the Chargers is Hunter Henry. He is out. Tight end Virgil Green has a growing injury. Wide receivers Travis Benjamin and Mike Williams show up on the injury report, questionable with back and hip injuries. Casey Hayward, cornerback, didn't practice due to a back injury as well. And cornerback Michael Davis is also listed as questionable. For the Dolphins, as if anybody even cares, because you probably won't know half these names, Alan Hearns is in concussion protocol. Bobby McCain has a hamstring and shoulder injury. Albert Wilson has a hip and calf injury. Josh Rosen was a full participant in practice, though he does have an elbow injury. And Rashard Jones has an ankle injury.
All right, there we go. The Washington Redskins are at the New York Giants. And the Redskins are 30th in the power rankings. The Giants 25th. Giants favored by 3. I don't know who's playing quarterback for Washington, but I do know Daniel Jones has got the Giants all hyped up. And I also know the strength of this Redskins team is their defensive front. And I don't believe they're going to part the Red Sea like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers did for one of those rushing touchdowns by Daniel Jones. Give me the Redskins to smack the Giants back into reality. Neil's on board with that. But, James, you think Daniel Jones is the real deal, or you think something else?
No. I think he played a solid game in his first start. I believe that the defense of the Buccaneers choked down the stretch. I blame the coordinator for his poorest play calling. There's no reason the Buccaneers should have lost that game. Washington hasn't shown any life in 3 weeks in the second half of football games. They're competitive in the first half, don't get me wrong, for the most part, with the exception of that second quarter Monday night against Chicago. But something happens to Neil's team in the second half, and these guys, I'm not saying they quit, but some of them don't look like they want to be there. Neil?
Well,
Yeah.
you know who else isn't going to be there is Saquon Barkley. So,
and that has me questioning my pick because, yes, Saquon Barkley is out for the next 4 to 8 weeks and he's seeing a specialist. No, it's not Dr. Andrews. It's Dr. Robert Anderson.
Neil, what do you say?
Well, first of all, I'm not very happy because they played on Monday night against Chicago, and as you know, that was a game which kicked off here at I think about 1:20 in the morning. I stayed up most of that first half, went to bed at halftime because I think it was 28-0 or 28-3 or something. I was 3 o'clock in the morning. I could have thrown my television out the window. It was just. It was just every time. 16 out of the last 17 Monday night games, Washington have lost, and they usually lose them in fairly ugly fashion. And Muggins here sits up and stays up and watches these games, and it's like, oh, gee whiz. My Tuesday was just a miserable day of me having a grumpy old time. We got beat. I was knackered, and then I went to see that bloody Ad Astra film in the evening. It was not the best of days. Honestly, guys, it just did not get better.
Neil, hold up, Neil. I have a question. Serious question though about Washington. Your head coach, who I think is probably one of the biggest morons in the NFL right now. Does he survive the season, or does he get fired before the season ends? Because I honestly think no matter which one you get fired regardless. It's just a matter of when.
Yes. Yeah, that's right. I think certainly this time, the start of next season, we'll have a new head coach for sure. Now, whether that, you see, he is part of that whole Bruce Allen family sort of thing that goes on with the Grudens and all their history together. But personally, I think if Washington drops to, well, let's say they lose this game, and then I think they play, is it New England next week?
Oh, yeah, I think so.
Great question. Are you playing us next week? I can't wait. Oh, yeah.
I think it's like week. Yep. Yeah. So I think if he loses this game, loses against the Patriots, and then after that, I think they play like San Francisco and some other lesser team. I think if he goes to 0-5 or 0-6, then I think they'll fire him. Yeah, I think Kevin O'Connell is the offensive coordinator. He'll probably take on the reins there. That's the latest fashion, isn't it?
Second question: at what point do they finally cave and let Haskins start a game? Because let's just say they go 0-4. Is it? I mean, obviously you don't start them against the Patriots. So 0-5, do you start them in week 6, 7, 8? Like,
yeah, well, after the Patriots, we play the San Francisco 49ers. So I think
you got Miami. You're at Miami after the Patriots.
Is it Miami then? Is it Miami then San Francisco? So I think if it's those two games, he'll probably start then. There's no point starting him against the Patriots because very rarely does a rookie quarterback do well against the Patriots. But I would say then the one question I would have though, guys, is that Case Keenum is in a boot at the moment, and there's questions about whether he can start on Sunday. So following on from that, maybe Haskins who starts and Colt McCoy apparently.
Yeah, no, Colt McCoy.
Not that far away.
Colt McCoy is supposedly going to start.
Yep. So it's
and again, this is why I call you a moron, because he's very committed on not starting Dwayne Haskins, and I don't understand that at all.
Well, just
in
to
his
remind
defense, he is playing for his job.
Just to remind you guys of my preseason prediction for the Washington Redskins, I had you going over until the bye, and then finally you get things together and you pull out 4 victories at the end of the season after your bye week in week 10.
Oh God!
You had us losing to Miami.
Going 0-9.
Well, that was at the beginning of the season. Now you might actually get a green square instead of a red square over the Miami game.
Oh my gosh!
That could be the battle for the first overall pick. That game.
Quickly on the injuries here, Neil, tell your squad to just put Jordan Reed on injury reserve because he's still out with a concussion. As mentioned, Case.
How about Jordan Reed just retired? Never mind injured reserve. Just retired list.
James, there's certainly discussions ongoing about Reed, and a lot of people starting to advise him. Maybe it's time to hang them up.
Yeah,
for his own safety.
Guard Brandon Sheriff is listed day-to-day with an ankle sprain. Casanova McKenzie is questionable. Quentin Dunbar also questionable for the Giants. Linebacker Lorenzo Carter has an elbow injury, was limited. Wide receivers Benny Fowler, Cody Latimer, and Russell Shepard all limited or not practicing this week. Alec Ogletree has a hamstring, didn't practice this week either. And Latimer keeps an eye on because he's in concussion protocol. So I might actually switch and pick Washington for this game because if they don't have to worry about Saquon Barkley, the defense should pretty much dominate. Neil? Should?
Yeah, move on, Jay. I'm getting grumpy.
Here's a question, gentlemen. There's a woman, I believe she's campaigning, who is knocking at my door. Should I answer the door?
No.
What's she campaigning for?
Local office, I believe. At least that's what it appears. She's dressed in a very nice business suit, and she has a pin on her lapel. So,
it's a bit weird if you're standing watching her through the glass, though, and not answering the door.
Well, unless she comes to this window, I'm not anywhere near the door. I just heard her knock, but I'm not answering. All right, no. Carolina Panthers.
Whatever you do, just don't walk to the door and yell out, "We have room next to the other body, so let her in."
Yes, that's what I am.
That's not a bad idea. The Carolina Panthers are at the Houston Texans. The Texans ranked 9th in the power rankings, Panthers 22nd. The spread on this one is 4.5 in favor of the Houston Texans. NFL 100 nugget. I know how much you love these, Neil. In the first meeting between the two clubs, Texans quarterback Tony Banks threw a 20-yard touchdown pass to tight end Billy Miller in the fourth quarter to give Houston a 14-10 win over Carolina on November 2nd, 2003. So despite a hot start for Kyle Allen, I trust Deshaun Watson more, and the Texans are at home. I do think this could be one of those 25% of games, though, that comes down to the fourth quarter to determine the winner. We're all taking the Houston Texans, however.
Absolutely. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I will say Kyle Allen played better than I anticipated against Arizona, but Arizona's defense is proven to be non-existent this point in the season, so there's that.
I was going to bring that up. Have you seen the meme of that somebody posted? I can't believe this kid who trolled Cam Newton in the NFL Play 60 commercials a few years ago grew up to be Kyle Allen.
Oh, no.
That commercial was great.
Yes, it was. Quick hit on the injury since we shouldn't have anything to say on this game outside of the obvious. Carolina, Dante Jackson, cornerback, has a growing injury, was limited. Shaq Thompson, linebacker, has a knee injury. He was limited. And tight end Greg Olsen was limited due to his back. Other key names on the injury report outside of Cam Newton, of course, Bruce Irving, defensive end, and Marcus Hayes, along with guard Brandon Green. For the Houston Texans, Saneo Calametti has been placed on injury reserve with his wrist injury. Tackles Laramie Tunsil and Chantrell Henderson are both listed as questionable for this coming week. And, these other guys are reserves who just rotational players. Moving on to the next game.
Well, the next game is the first of our 4:00 games, and it features...
How many this week?
Only 4 this week. Only 4. I know. But it features the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Los Angeles Rams. The Rams are 3rd in the power rankings. The Bucs are 23rd. Rams favored by 9.5 in this game. We're all taking the Rams. We're not even going to go anywhere near the Bucs. But just to give you Buccaneers fans a little tidbit, Tampa Bay linebacker Shaq Barrett, whom I trolled quite hard in the preseason, enters week 4 with a league-leading 8 sacks. Barrett registered 3 sacks in week 2,